OST 2016. This is interviews, music reviews, and more. This is The Hotter Show.
What is up, everybody? We're Rolling Audio here today in episode 344 of The Hotter Show. I hope you guys doing absolutely fantastic. Thank you so very much for tuning in and clicking that play button on today's episode of the podcast. I've got a really fun episode for you here today, as I try to every single week right here on The Hotter Show. I'm sitting down with Bryce Smith from Rival Town and also a viral TikTok star. And we have a fantastic chat all about Rival Town's brand new single, Thorns, which features Rody Walker from Protest the Hero. And it is an absolute kick-ass track. And we also talk a little bit about kind of what happened over the pandemic and kind of how he and the rest of the band have been adjusting. Also some big changes to the lineup of the band. How the introduction to Rody Walker happened actually over one of his TikToks, and the world of TikTok, and just how crazy it is that some fart videos can get millions and millions of views. So definitely a really fun conversation with Bryce Smith. I hope that you guys enjoy it. Rival Town are genuinely one of my favorite bands in the Ontario scene, and Bryce is a phenomenal musician, and I'm a big fan of his songwriting. So have a lot of fun with him there. Before we jump in, I want to take a second to thank everybody for their support on last week's episode of the show. My chat with Sarah and Mitchell from Among Legends, kick-ass pop-punk band out of Ontario here. Go check them out. They are freaking awesome. And also a humongous shout out to everybody who supported the first episode of The Hotter Show officially on Spreaker and the Grey Rooms Productions Network. Cannot be more excited about this partnership. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Grey Rooms Productions in the outro of this episode, as well as give my Patreon shout outs. So stay tuned for that at the end of this chat. But now we are going to hear a quick word from the fantastic sponsors of The Hotter Show. And then we're going to hear my chat with Bryce Smith. Let's get into it. We got Bryce Smith from Rival Town, one of my favorite Ontario-based bands. Bryce, what's up, brother? It's good to see you.
How you doing, man? It's been a minute. It's nice to just get caught up. I haven't spoken a couple of years, and well, at least not through a platform like this. So it's just cool, just getting back in touch and seeing what you've been up to.
Yeah, brother. Like, it's funny. Like, I always, like I said, Rival Town is like, I've said it before jokingly, but the reality is Rival Town is legit like one of my favorite bands in the area. So like, I always keep up on what y'all are doing. But yeah, like the last time we spoke, it was like, I think it was like late 2019, and so much has happened in life since then. Crazy. Like, it's crazy.
It literally feels like I know it's 2019, but I mean that feels like a decade ago to me.
It
like
the
entire world is completely different. Like, I'm different. I know, I'm sure you are. It's like I can't even connect to the guy that we spoke to back then mentally. It's just like a whole different. So much has changed. So it's weird, kind of just like we're all coming out of our little underground tunnels here, and just finally sort of getting back together and just getting caught up. So it's cool just reconnecting with a lot of people.
Yeah, man. Coming out of the bubble, coming out of the woodwork, just like, oh, hey, we're all around. What's happening? Like, we've all
right.
just been hanging out with man. Like
I've ran into a few friends just at shows and stuff like that, where it's weird how like you kind of, there was like a gray area where it's like, okay, things are opening up. Is it going to shut down? Is it opening up? And then all of a sudden we were just like, some people who I didn't see during that gray area, it's almost like the pandemic didn't happen, because I'll just be like, hey man, how you been, bro? Like, how's your cat? And I'm just talking to him like I saw him not 4 fucking years ago. Like, it's weird to me now that it's just like your brain kind of forgets like all of it happens sometimes, now that we're sort of slipping back into normality a bit.
Yeah, man, it's just wild. Like, people are married now, and like, it's just like, I just literally had lunch with a friend of mine who I hadn't seen him for more than 30 seconds in 3 years. And we're sitting there talking, and we're like, dude, like, are we even still friends? Like, what the fuck? Like, what? It's just like, dude, like, how are you? Like, what?
Yeah, and it's weird. Like that's what I was saying. It's kind of like it's like we're kind of writing off just like a couple of years of our lives. Like we're just like, oh, we're just gonna forget that ever happened, and then we're just back into normality again. Like we're acting like it didn't really happen, and it's just it's cool and it's kind of shitty because it's just like, I mean, we all had a lot of big plans during those 2 years. I'm sure you did as well, and it's just sort of, I mean, the way it happened, it's what happened, but at the same time, it's just like it's just a bizarre. It's like all of the world kind of became a Black Mirror episode is how I always feel like it.
Yes.
It was just like this weird thing that we all kind of experienced together. And now it's just over. And then we're like, well, that sucked. And we're just going on with our lives now.
It's just like, oh, okay. Like, don't get me wrong. I like to always still highlight the fact that, hey, some cool stuff happened too, right? Like that's, you know,
absolutely.
Obviously I just say now, like, oh, you know, like, yeah, some shit went down. And we all just kind of stayed home for a while, and now we're back out.
Because you kind of sit there, and your brain almost like forgets how fucking crazy it really got.
Dude,
like how
wild,
weird everything got. Like there was points, like, and I'm just like, because now I'm like I said, enough times passed that I'm just kind of don't really think about it. But like being scared of everyone at the grocery store and shit, just like everywhere you went, like, oh man, like fucking COVID, it's all around us. But now it's just kind of, oh well, that guy's probably, you know, you see a dude hacking now, you don't even care. Like, oh, I'm sure he's fine. Like it's just a weird, I don't know, man. Like it's one of those things that like I don't know if we'll ever experience it again, but it's something we'll all be telling our grandkids one day that we survived the weird fucking Black Mirror episode of 2020 to 2022. So it's
2020 to 2022. Like it's not even like it was just that's a lot of people like to be like, oh, 2020. I was like, hey man, were you not here for 2021? Like
we're just getting over it, man. Yeah. Like we're only 3 months maybe, and even then there's still, I know my wife still has to wear masks at work and do the whole thing. So a lot of places aren't over it. So I mean, it's just it's crazy that it happened, man. I don't know how really else to. It's one of those things. It's like a paradox. I don't know. It's just fucking wild.
Just fucking wild. That's all I say. It was fucking wild. And what's crazy for me, it's like my wife's the same. She has to still wear a mask, and I actually once everything opened up and all that stuff, and this is all great, and we're not wearing masks anymore, and it was like like a month and a half to 2 months after I had to stop wearing masks at work, I actually got COVID, which I hadn't had it the whole time. So then, of course, everyone's like over COVID, and then my dumb ass finally gets it after, you know, and I'm just like, seriously? Like, really? Like, dude, now?
It's funny, too. I started working at a new place just only maybe 5 or 6 months ago, and there's like a lot of heavy traffic of people coming through this place, and I like went from not being sick for years, like I just never got sick, to like it was like 2 months of just constant sickness. Every fucking week was something different, and I was like, I'm cursed. And I'm like, I'm rocking masks, I'm taking all the vitamins, I'm sick every day. And then like it kind of made me take for granted like how much I appreciated not being sick, because like I'm a baby when I'm sick, dude. Like we have a spare room in our garage, and I'm just like out there just grumpy, just fucking sleeping by myself, hacking away, like everything sucks. And it's just like terrible. I was such a baby, dude. I don't know how a lot of people dealt with COVID. I don't know if I ever had it. I took a few tests, always came back negative. I feel like I'm one of those people that had it early off. My old job, I used to work in a lot of we had the Chinese New Year's at the Fallsview Casino, which had like thousands of. This is like a month after COVID's kind of taken off. And then I remember getting violently sick for like 2 or 3 weeks. It was like a bronchitis type thing. I don't know. COVID wasn't really like an option yet. We were kind of like,
we didn't know.
Yeah, it was just sort of rumblings like, oh, you hear about this COVID thing over there on the boats? And like, we don't really know anything about it. So and then I'm assuming that could have been it, but who really knows, man? It's one of those funny. Weird.
There's nothing like when I did my test, I thought for sure I was going to, like, brother, I've been around so much, like I've been, like, you know, janitorial shit for the last 15 years. Like I have so much bleach and disinfectant and acid cleaner in my body, and I've breathed in so much shit over the years. I'm like, man, COVID's not gonna get me. Get out of here. Like, I'm not scared of COVID. So then when I tested positive, like, I was out in my car and the wife, like, making a call, whatever, the wife comes out and she's like, yeah, your test lit up like a fucking Christmas tree. Like, it's just boom, boom. And so I did like 3 more just for good measure, and they all just lit up. And I was like, ah, shit. So
did it kick your ass? Like, how was it for you?
It wasn't fun.
No,
it was, I mean, I felt weird. Like, it felt different. Like, I've had bronchial pneumonia. I've had croup.
So it was like an audibly different.
Oh, dude, it was weird. Like, it just, you just feel weird. Like, it's not like, yeah, I had a fever, and yeah, I got the chills, and I felt weak, and then I did lose my sense of taste and smell, which that was weird. Like, losing them completely. It was weird. I didn't like that. Like, I'm a big guy too. I like my food. So
a bunch of guys in Rival Town got it too, and I was fortunate enough not to. Okay. I did get like some violent flu a few weeks ago, actually. And it's funny that it was the night I was going to see Protest the Hero in London here about, 2 months ago, a month ago, I can't remember now. And it was like that morning, fine, I had a little junk kind of in the chest. By that night, it was like the cold chills and everything. I was dying. I'm like, I got fucking COVID, bro. And like, I'm at a concert. This is bad. And then I go home and I take like 2 or 3 tests, and it was nothing. So I don't know what it was, but I still don't want anyone to have gotten what that was. The whole band got that too. So we're just all passing our shit back and forth right now. Well, but we're finally all healthy enough right now, which is nice. We got a few shows next weekend, so we're excited to just like get out and do it again, man, because it's been so long, and it's nice just to like get back on the road a little bit. A little taste, and just see if we can still do this rock and roll thing.
Oh yeah, brother. Well, speaking on all that, like, obviously two of the things I want to make sure we talked about, because it's exciting stuff, a lot of new stuff going on for Rival Town. You guys actually have some new members on top of a new single coming. Yes, talk me through that. You got Russell and Stewart playing guitar and bass respectively.
Yeah, they fit in. Great dudes. They've both been kind of grinding in the scene for a while. They're a bit not older, but they're more my age. I know Cole was with us for a little while there.
Yes.
He's a good dude. There's no bad blood. It was just he couldn't really commit to doing. He's a front man. Cole's a front man.
I loved him with you guys, but I remember, like, I was like,
he's a front man.
He's a front man. Like,
he's also, I know he's gonna watch this. He's also a god awful bass player, but he's very, very good at putting on a show. And he knows he's a bad bass player, so that's fine. But he's an entertaining dude. He's got the stage presence.
Oh, dude, I fucking love Cole, man.
No him. Bad blood at all. We love Cole, and it was just one of those things. We couldn't grind it all together. It just kind of fizzled out, and that happens, man. And then Chris just stepped away too. He's been with us for since the very beginning, back when we were up in Thunder Bay, and it was just kind of one of those things too. He's sort of starting into the next chapter of his life. He's kind of wanting to settle down. I know he's got a girlfriend. I know they're kind of planning their future together, and he's working a lot, kind of doing a lot of his own solo stuff, and working kind of in his career and just sort of taking that next plunge. So we no bad blood with him either. He was always a good guy, and so it was big shoes to fill, honestly. And we were kind of panicking, because I'm like, shit, man, 2 guys kind of leaving at the same time. Like, it's hard enough to replace one member, but like getting 2 guys after we just lost 2 years of playing as well. We were all kind of getting a bit discouraged, and wondering, can we still do this? Is this even really worth it to us now? Do we enjoy it anymore? And it got to that point a couple of times during the pandemic, and I know a lot of the guys felt that way as well. It's like, man, are we going to be able to bounce back after this? Like, do we still want it? And I ended up just hitting up. I'd known Stuart around the scene. We weren't like really buddies or anything. We kind of knew each other existed. He was honestly just a dude on my Facebook. I think I saw his old band. He was in a band called Oak Rest for a while. and he was in a band called Play Fight for a while. He's the singer of that band. I think he might still be in that band actually. And I knew the guy was legit. He's one of those guys that plays every instrument, great singer as well. So I kind of just like threw the line out. I was like, hey man, I don't know if this is your thing, but like Rival Town's looking for a bass player or a guitarist, whatever you might be more interested in. He's like, dude, I've been following you guys for a while. I'd love to audition and see if it's the right fit. And he lives like 2.5 hours away from us, but he drives down every week and practices with us. And he was the right guy right away. And then Russell, who's a local dude here, he used to be in a band called Kill the Duke. He's an older scene veteran guy.
I know Kill the Duke. I know that name. I've heard that name before.
They were kicking around for a while, a couple of years ago, and he was a singer in that band too, actually. And he's just a phenomenal guitar player. We weren't sure because he's kind of like a real dad type dude. We're like, are we just like letting some old dad join the band? And it's just like, and we're like, oh shit. He came to a couple of shows. We're like, that's an old dude, but he's not. He's like our age. He's just a little more seasoning, a little more brown sugar.
A little more seasoning.
We're like, shit, we don't know. And he's looking at us like, oh man, these guys are all babies. Like,
these are children, man. What the fuck?
Turns out we're actually all around the same age, anyways. He's like a year or two older than us. But no, he came in and I put the heat on him too because he had to learn a lot of Chris's stuff, and Chris is a pretty intricate guitar player. So we're like, oh man, it's a lot for you to learn. But I mean, if you want to take on the challenge, then it's there for you. And he nailed it, man. He came in the first couple of jams and just absolutely killed it. So we said, you're the guy, and got our 2 new members, and they fit great. And we're already writing really cool new stuff. Like the new stuff we're working on now I don't know. The only way I can describe it is like it's Rival Town, but it's Rival Town like modern as shit. And I don't mean we're putting out the pop record now, but I just mean like it's very much like radio single Rival Town because we're all like too old to keep fucking putting out super sad shit. Something's got to take off here soon, man. Like as much as we love writing like horribly depressing music, we gotta start turning this into something if we want to do it for real. But at the same time, we're just having fun at the end of the day.
Well, that's it. You can still have stuff like, I think Framework was a really good example of something that was a little more like that's just a beautiful fucking song. I love that song, man. Like, I was playing it for my wife. Like, I'm like, this is beautiful fucking, and don't get me wrong. I love some good old sad shit as much as the next guy, but you're I do get what you're saying though.
Yeah. And Framework was like cool because it's like one of our first times that we didn't write a horribly depressing song. It was kind of an experiment for us. I actually wrote that song for my wife during the pandemic, and I was just kind of like, hey, I wonder if I can write a love song and not talk about how everything sucks for a change. And then we kind of demoed it out and we threw it on the back burner and we didn't really think about it. And a year goes by and we were just kind of going through some old demos. We're like, you know what, there might be something to that song. And then we tracked it all out and it ended up sounding really cool. And a lot of people have been a big fan of that one, actually. It's a little different for us, but it's a get laid song, right? It's what we wanted. We wanted you to be able to like, babe, this song totally reminds me of you, and then see what it does for you. That's kind of the whole shtick. But a lot of people seem to really like it, so we've been fortunate.
I like it, man. Well, it's funny you mentioned that because it's on the we're getting ready a playlist for our wedding, and I may or may not have snuck that on there. Because
really, that's crazy, man.
I love straight up, bro. Like I fucking don't get me wrong. I love pulling. I've been singing the chorus for Pulling Teeth since it fucking came out. Like I'll just be walking down. I'll be like walking. I'll just like, and I'm like, fuck. Like that's
what I want, man. Absolutely. 100%. That's a compliment.
But speaking of singles and that, like, I mean, we just obviously talking on kind of newer stuff. You guys just dropped Thorns, which is a freaking badass track. And as you guys are hearing this on the 28th on Thursday, you can check out this new Rival Town song, Thorns, featuring Rody Walker of Protest the Hero over on it's Space Untravels YouTube, but it will be on all streaming services Friday.
Yeah.
Dude, what a fucking awesome track this is, man. I love it.
Thanks, man. No, that's a huge compliment. We appreciate it. Yeah, it's weird. Once the pandemic started, I know you were a fan of a lot of the stuff we were dropping right beforehand. I know you liked one of our other records there, the Useless Hands
That
one.
Useless Brother, I still bring that record up all the time. Like, I know it's the
It's
old stuff, but I still bring it up all the time on the show.
Yeah, we call that one our therapy record. We needed to get it out, and that was the one. But I kind of changed my writing style like drastically after that, because it's like I wanted to say something with that record. And then after that, I found that it was getting really hard to write personal songs because I was kind of happy. Like, I know that I went through a lot of shit, but I met the love of my life. I'm married now. I got a house and dogs and cars. I'm doing all right for myself. And I know a lot of my boys are doing pretty good too. So it's really hard to sit there and write like, I'm really happy. Like, it's fucking not really, it doesn't sell. So what I started doing was writing songs from imagined perspectives of what I think other people going through problems might write from. And I know a lot of guys do that, but it was kind of a first venture for me. And it's funny because we dropped a song called The One Who Pushed, which is a very obvious breakup song. We put it out 1.5 years ago. And my guitarist heard the demo and he's like, bro, who the fuck is this about? Like, what the fuck are you, like, you're the happiest guy I know. And you're sitting here like, fuck you, bitch, I hate you. And I'm like, no, it's not me, man. I'm just trying to write from what I think a guy
channeling someone else
would like. So like all our songs now, I'm kind of just trying to reach into different perspectives of like what something could be like. And I might not feel as personally attached lyrically to the song, but it's let me spend a lot more time focusing on vocal melody, because I'm not a singer at all, but I hear it in my head. And that's the thing. And my Mike, our guy, he can put anything down, man, and it's gonna sound good. And he's
That's
just one
a
of these
beast,
guys.
man.
Yeah. And I could just sit there and I go, it sounds like this in my head, and I'll kind of hum it terribly to him. He's like, got it. He lays it down exactly how I hear it. So he's one of those guys that just he's a wizard, man. He can sit there and he'll do 1 million tracks over and over and record it till he gets it right. It's always exactly how we envision it. So I'm very fortunate to have Mikey in our life.
That's it. Now when you sit down and write, like, obviously, like you had mentioned already, Useless Hands was kind of like the therapy record, and it was very personal and heavy. And I mean, you can't write that record again, obviously, right? Like,
hopefully not.
That's a one. Well, that's it. Hopefully you don't have to. That's
Exactly.
And I'm glad to hear you're doing so great in life. I'm very happy about that. And so it's like, I don't like when people lie, right? Like, I'm a big fan of like the 2000s, mid 2000s, like hard rock alternative metal shit. And like, I'm a big Godsmack fan, and people always make fun of me for it, but I'm like, whatever. And Sully literally has said in recent years, like, bro, I'm not mad anymore. Like, I can't, I'm not going to lie to you. Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, yeah, my life is terrible. Cause it's like, hey man, my life's pretty fucking great. Like, I can't lie to you. So it's interesting to hear that you can kind of channel something, and it still feels, from a listener standpoint, very real and raw. And I'm kind of like, oh man, like, what's going on over there at the Rival Town camp? They're angry about something, man. Like,
and that's what a lot of people think too. But like a good example, we have a song called Swear Jar, and it's kind of probably our most popular song. It's one of the ones we did during the pandemic, and it just kind of popped off. I'm sort of like trying to focus now on just writing like the most earworm, like cavity inducing sweet fucking choruses and verses. I want it to just be like you said, pulling teeth. I want you to be like, I can't get this fucking song out of my head. And that's the whole way I'm trying to write now. Everything's like very nursery rhyme, flows very well together, very bouncy. And but I'm trying to sort of look at friends and stories I've heard for inspiration. Like, but Swear Jar, my drummer a few years ago, he was dealing with a lot of mental health stuff. And I remember him talking to me a lot about his experiences and how he was dealing with it. A lot of the process it takes to go through something like that. And it kind of inspired that song. And it was hard for me because I had to sort of dance around it what's the best way of putting it? I had to be very cautious on how I approached it because I wanted to be respectful, but while also being like digging into like what could actually be like if I was going through something like this. And the song is kind of, I remember at the time before he started sort of getting into his recovery process, that a lot of it came from just like overthinking things all the time and always assuming like I'm the one fucking ruining everything. It's all falling on me. My friends are not going to love me if I don't come through with something. And I started going like, man, that would be just like exhausting to have to like deal with that. So that's kind of what that song was about. And then I remember talking about it with him after. He's like, I kind of see now, like hearing it from another perspective of like what you see in my personality. Like it's kind of a cool way of looking at it. And it's cool. There's just one of those songs that ended up being really popular for us. But it was interesting. It's kind of a therapeutic and a little bit of a experimentation for me songwriting wise, just sort of looking at, you know, trying to step outside of myself and just see the world how other people might see it, whether or not they do see it that way. It's like, who knows? But it's just kind of like going like, shit, I can only write so many songs about the same fucking 3 or 4 subjects, man. Like I'm sad pop punk guy that, you know, it gets repetitive. So I'm just sort of, and another guy that I really like is Soupy from the Wonder Years, and he does that a lot too, where he has this other project. I don't know if you've ever heard of Aaron West and the Roaring 20s, but if you want 2 albums, like if you like Useless Hands, if you want 2 albums that will just like pull your soul apart, he's got 2 records, and he just wrote a character study album where he plays this character named Aaron West, and his wife left him one day and divorced him, and he's just trying to find her, and he's going across the whole country trying to find her, and he's sort of lost within himself. And then near the end, it's a story record, he decides, you know, if he's gonna take the shitty way out, and it's really heavy. And then the second record kind of like takes off from that point and how he starts his healing process. And I think it's probably the most 2 profound records I've heard in the past like 5 years. They hit me hard. And whenever I'm like looking for inspiration, like those are the records I go to. So, I mean, if you're ever looking to like really get into your feels and go like, wow, man, this is a story, then you'll definitely, I think you'll fuck with those records big time. But that's kind of, he was an inspiration for how I sort of started writing like this.
So now that's awesome. I'm definitely gonna have to check that out because
yeah, dude, you'll be moved by it.
Yeah, because straight up, like Useless Hands is one of those. Again, still, you can ask the guys, Sarah and Mitchell from Among Legends. I just had him on last week, and we were talking about it off air. But how I still rock that all the time, along with the new stuff, obviously too, because I dig it. So now, like when you sit down to write, you're actively now thinking, okay, like I'm not going to write about sad boy shit all the time. Like let's try and do some different things. But if you're like, is there a moment, say during the day, when you're just kind of like walking and you're in a good mood and you're trucking along and you think of a line or something? Like, is that something you're still very conscious with? Because if I remember correctly, when we spoke before, you were very much someone who you kind of just wrote down lines throughout the day. And I think that's what I love about your lyric writing so much. It's very like, I'm not a huge fan. Like, it's almost just like you kind of almost like write how you would speak almost. And I really, really dig that in writing.
Yeah. I try to sort of blend the line of like reality and metaphors in songs, because I want a metaphor that like you can interpret your own way, or this could be a very literal meaning about something directly to the song. Because like, I know that you mentioned with the Useless Hands records, like you took a few of those lines, you're like, wow, I can kind of turn around and see this in my own life. And that's totally on purpose too. But yeah, sometimes if I just hear a phrase in my head, it's, you know, the worst time, man, it's always like fucking 3 minutes before I'm about to fall asleep. I'll be like, yes. Oh God, that's the one. That's the one in the morning. I'm going to fucking write that. Never remember it again. And so now I got a whole bunch of notes on my phone that are just like one line. And sometimes it's just a matter of flowing or melody. I hear it, I'm like, oh, that flow is really cool. I don't know what that means yet. Am I going to write the song around that concept? Or a lot of times I have just a riff, man. I write the whole song out, and then I'll sit there and try and build lyrics and vocals over it afterwards. And then I'll take that to Mike. He'll sort of do his rendition of it, and then he'll sort of completely like micify it. Like he just takes it. He's like, all right, I heard what you did. Listen to this shit. And then he'll send that back, and it's always 10 times better than what I ever imagined. But yeah, it's always just like something. I'll just hear a phrase or a word or something where I'm like, a lot of times it's always like, oh, that would make a cool band name one day, or that would make a this and that would make a that, or that's a cool song name. And then like I'll pull that out into a song. So like even with Thorns, that's one of the few songs that's actually about something related to me. That was sort of how we all kind of came out of the pandemic for the worse, I guess. Like a lot of people, a lot of cool stuff happened, but I that song is sort of like how we all kind of came out. You feeling, what's the word? It's almost like apathetic. Like everyone kind of came out like, what's the fucking point anymore, man? Like that's kind of what that song was about. And that's sort of in the chorus. I think the line is, I'm like a violet and daisies. I can feel my colors changing. It's just like I used to be like vibrant and so excited about everything. And then after the pandemic, you're like, well, what's the point, man? Another pandemic could just happen tomorrow and this would be pointless. And it was just another therapeutic song. And then Rody, he wrote his own verse actually on that song, and totally hit it out of the park, the exact sort of emotion I was going for. So it came together and made a very cool song.
How did you guys get linked up with Rody? Like that was such a cool thing to see. Cause I know how you got linked up with him, but to tell the story, how did the whole thing happen?
All right. So I started, it's actually funny how this started. My old guitarist, Chris, was hopping on TikTok, and he was all about it. We didn't really know anything about it, the rest of us. We just assumed it was the new trend, the new Vine or whatever all the kids are saying. They're like, guys, you got to get on TikTok. That's where like people are right now, man. If you want to like get some traction out there with the band stuff, we have to be doing these TikToks. And he was a pretty boy in a lot of his videos. He's always just like looking at the camera, doing his little dances.
I mean, he's a handsome son bitch,
so
right?
You can't fault the guy. But I just love, me and him always had a bantering friendship. We would just make fun of each other all the time. But I'm always like, yo, bro, trust me, I'm the one people want to see on TikTok. I bet you my farts would get more views than you. And he's like, yeah, fucking right. And then immediately we posted some of these stupid videos. And it started off a little slow. One night I did another video. I woke up the next morning and it was like 17 mil. And I was like, whoa, this is a thing. And then we started, my brother and I, who you see in most of the videos, we just went nuts with it, man. We were so bored. We're like, well, wouldn't it be funny if someone farted and this happened? And wouldn't it be funny if we farted that direction and this happened? And we started like dragging everybody into it, man. All our friends and family were getting involved. My grandma's in them. Like they don't really go anywhere. I wasn't trying to do anything with it. I was just trying to make people laugh when it started. And there's been a couple that like blew up. Like I got one now that's 60 million views. Like it's like big numbers, man. And anyways, to segue into the single, I was one day I was scrolling through TikTok and I see Rody pop up. And this is a guy that like when I was like a teenager in early 20s, like I worshiped Protest the Hero, man. They're about as cool as it could be for a Canadian metal band to like get that level. I was like, wow, this is sick, man. I can't believe he's on TikTok. That's so cool. And I go click on his profile to follow him and it says follow back. And I'm like, what? He's following me? And I was having a little like panicked freak out moment. So I'm screenshotting and I'm sending it to the boys like, Rody follows me, you guys. It's so cool. So I follow him. And then I comment on one of his videos and like not thinking anything's ever going to happen from it. Like, you remember, this is a celebrity to me, man. And I'm like, hey, man, big fan. You know, it's just cool to see you on here. And he goes, dude, I'm a big fan of you. And I'm like, what the fuck? This is I'm freaking out, man. My wife knows I'm losing my mind. So I sent him a message. I'm like, hey, man, what are the chances I could ever get you on like my crappy pop punk band song? And he's like, yeah, bro, I'd do it. And I'm like, really? Like, you're probably going to cost a lot. And he's like, man, no, I'm just like a fan of what you do. You make me laugh. And he did it for free for us too, man.
Really?
And then
Wow.
he also did the music video for free, and he came out. He was a total pro, and we were all trying not to fangirl. We're trying to act cool, like we're all huge fans of this guy. And he was like, legitimately could not have been friendlier, could not have been a cooler guy. So it's one of those scenarios where you meet somebody you like really looked up to, and they ended up being as cool as you thought they were going to be. And the fact that he thinks fart jokes are funny was just like total icing on top of the cake. So he ended up being in a TikTok with me, and you know, he's been pushing the single and stuff too. And it was just a really cool, kind of a cool little meetup between a couple of guys that think fart jokes are funny. And he ended up kind of becoming a little buddy of mine. So it's nice. We'll hit each other up every now and then and just say what's up. So it's one of those things that happened very organically, and it makes for a funny story. So it's yeah, like I said, he's a really cool guy, killed it on the song, and like we couldn't have been happier with how that whole thing came together.
That's awesome, bro. Because like I said earlier, like the single Thorns, it's fucking awesome. And I mean, his part on it is badass. It's cool to hear that he wrote his own part too, because it fits in so nicely. And I mean, he's such a pro. Like I've been again, as someone who grew up around, you know, the Durham region area, like Protestar. I mean, come on, Protestar.
Yeah, they're the legends.
I was 2004, 2005. I was entering high school, and I'm like, yo, these guys are like, they're doing it, and they took guitar lessons in Port Hope. Like, I know that store. Like, what? Or Coburg. Like, wait, what? I know that store.
Exactly.
Like, what's going on? Like, yeah, that's cool.
They're one of the big three as far as I consider like Ontario, like hardcore metal. It was like them, Silverstein, and Alexis were like the big ones that came out, man. And it was just really cool, just like getting to work with someone that you looked up to so much. And the fact that like we've done this sort of thing before with a lot of other guys, and a lot of times it's just business, you know, keep it professional. He totally made it a bro experience for us. He put us on guest lists at one of his shows, and just just a beauty of a guy, man. So we were super fortunate. We're very, very lucky to be able to work with him, and I hope that we get to do something together in the future.
That's fucking awesome. And it's just so funny that, I mean, I'm such a big fan of your content, bro. It's like, you're fans of me farting in front of windows, and like, that's just wild, man.
Started doing this like thing too, where he was like writing songs about his TikTokers that he liked, and he would do like a whole like little music video with it. And one day I get like, this is right after I kind of sent him the message. I'm like, oh, maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't. We'll see. And then I get a message where he tagged me. He's like, Rody Walker has tagged you in a TikTok. I'm like, what do you mean? And I go, and he does a whole song about my fucking stupid fart videos. And I was like, my wife, I was screaming, man. Like, it was like I won the lottery. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. So, I mean, it's he wrote my own little theme song, and it was just unreal, man. Yeah. So we're, like I said, we couldn't have been happier. He's just all around the coolest guy. I know he's going to watch this and probably think I'm a fucking wiener for saying this, but I mean,
oh man, that's cool. You got to understand. Like, I'm sure he can appreciate the fact that how big of a fan you are, right? Like, it's not like you were weird about it. It's just like, this is cool as fuck, man. Come on,
Rody. I'm doing you a favor. Don't forget, man. Who's got more followers, bro? So like, I'm up here, you're down here, buddy.
Listen. Daniel Day-Poois is a legend.
Little guy.
Right, he's a protest who? Come on, man. That's
protest.
Protest who?
No, absolutely.
Protest poo. No. Anyway, obviously, mad joking on that. But it's funny, man. Like TikTok is just freaking crazy to me as someone who still doesn't really understand it. Like,
I don't really get it either, dude. I understand what works for me, man. That's it. You take a concept, like there's an algorithm to TikTok, which you basically, every content creator, if they go viral on one form of a video, it doesn't matter what the fuck else you do, you'll never get the views you will unless you hammer your one concept into the ground, which sucks. Like, all these like the big TikTokers that are like doing the little dance videos. They can't get views doing anything else, man. It's you get that one time, you hit that algorithm and you get a viral video. That's all you can do. You have to just hammer that concept into the ground. And I got a pretty fucking big platform on there. I think I got 500,000 followers on this account. And it's like I'll post something about my band. Hey, check out the new single. You might get, for me on that account anyways, you might get 10, 12,000 views, which is like not a lot on that account. Now, if I go, fucking farts, fucking a million views, man, every time. So it's like, it's kind of discouraging, but at the same time, it is what it is. I understand. I'm not super discouraged by it, but, you know, it's, my demographic of people that are following ain't interested in my fucking sad boy songs.
They just want the farts, bro.
Dude, I'm sitting there like pouring my heart out. Check out this song. Like, give us the farts part, man. And I'm like, okay, farts. So, like,
come on, fart boy, let's go.
The funniest part, dude, is 95% of the farts are just fake. Me and my guys just like, nobody would be able to do the shit that I fucking do. You'd be arrested. There's no fucking way I could go into an old folks home and fart in a lady's oxygen tank and not get fucking arrested. You can't do that, man.
Dude,
so,
the fucking video, I think the first one I saw like that went viral was the one of you coming up to the window. I mean, everyone's fucking seen it. and it's Jared inside, right? Yeah. Because I recognize the hair. I'm like, I remember watching.
Dude, is the next day we see that pop up on World Star, and the title of it is "Dude farts in old lady's window and scares her," and everyone's like calling my brother an old lady. He's like, "Well, fuck me, I guess." But the whole
how can you think that's an old lady?
Like, he's got a beard. And everyone thought it was an old lady. The funniest bit, what sold that video, man, was like, we did it a few different times. And I'm like, you know what, man? Like, I would just keep coming up, do the fart gag. He would just scream. I'm like, no, dude, you got to have something comical. You got to be holding something. Like, why would this dude just be sitting alone? And he had this massive tub of popcorn. Just like, way too much for like one dude sitting alone in his basement. It's just like a lonely cat man living in his basement, and he just launches this popcorn in the air. Hello? Like, it just fucking sold it, dude. It's one of those ones that good. It's funny because like the ones that we always joke, like, we put tons of effort into some of these. Nothing, dude. Doesn't go anywhere. The ones that we don't give a fuck about, we shoot it in like 2 seconds. We're like, that's a throwaway video. We'll go to bed, we wake up, 20 million views. So it's like, you never really know. And what we think is funny ain't always what everyone else thinks funny. There's I know my wife has this one where she's sitting on the couch, and she told me this was like the dumbest video. She's like, that's not going to get anything. And it's just me sitting with her like, hey, baby, you know, I love you. You're my best friend. Let's hold hands. And she's sitting at the other end of the couch, and I grab her hand and I yank it into my ass, and I just fucking beef in her face. And she's like, that's a stupid video. I'm like, it is. I know. It's not going to do anything. It's my second highest viewed video I've ever gotten now. So like, it's just one of those things, man. My God. We don't really know what's going to take off, but sometimes it's just hitting it at the right time.
That's fucking good. I think the one that just, I was crying, laughing. I mean, they all make me, I mean, come on. The shaky leg in the elevator. Like, I'm just like, fuck off.
Oh, the elevator, all the boys.
What I loved about that one was it comes in and the first thing I see is Chris. And I was like, I knew, like, okay, like, obviously, you know, like, if you're in on it's got to be your boys. Like, come on. Like, you know, you'd be arrested if you did some of this shit. But when it was like almost like, because I saw it, like, it was like dead on, right on Chris. And I was like, okay, yeah.
You get the joke now.
But what got me was the fucking sleep apnea machine.
Oh, Devo.
Oh my, because I have a sleep apnea machine, and like once in a while, like my cat, he like shits in the middle of the night or something.
Dude. Devo told me one night, he's like, bro, I'm laying there the other night, and I'm like pretty much passed out. I fucking farted. And it like sucked it back in the machine, bro, and it blew it right in my mouth. And I was like, dude, stop right where you are. We got to film this now. And I'm like, I didn't know they did that. And we ended up shooting it, and it fucking took off. But that is genius, man. A lot of them are personal experiences. We just got to figure out a way to film it. And the problem is I only got so many friends, so I'm always looking for like randoms to be like, hey, I know we don't know each other, but could like I fart on you and make you famous? And like
Can
it's
I
hard.
fart on you?
I get like randoms all the time having to participate in this shit, but I mean, and a lot of people don't really understand like when I tell you like it's gonna go viral. Like, okay, I'm sure it will. And then they're like, dude, that went viral. I got my favorite is I get messages sent to me, people sending me my own shit, being like, bro, you would love this guy, man. It's so funny. I'm like, yeah, I do love that guy, bro. I am that guy. They're like, no fucking way. Because the whole bit was like, you didn't know it was me, right? I was like an anonymous.
You weren't really super like.
Yeah, it was always just like
a
dude walking around in flip flops in the wrong fucking weather for flip flops. Like, that's what's funny too, because that's how I picture this like character I created. It's like just a fucking degenerate walking around in like basketball shorts and flip flops, farting in characters and shit. Like, it's just. I think like what a piece of shit, and that concept to me was just like so funny. So it ended up just fucking. And then when I did a couple of face reveals, and people were like, "You are not the guy I was expecting to be there." I'm like, nah, it is what it is, man.
Sorry, man. I don't know.
Sorry to disappoint you, but yeah, they're very funny, and they've gotten us some cool opportunities over the years.
That's fucking. And by the way, the guy you were talking about with the CPAP thing, that is that like how he really talks? Because that's fucking amazing.
Yeah, dude.
He needs to be like a character on a show. Like that's
he's actually thinking about doing stand-up. You got to get him on one night, dude. He is an unbelievably storyteller. Like he can tell you things like his life is just fucking wild, man. But he's like, he wants to start doing stand-up, and I always tell him, you gotta do it, dude, because you're just one of the funniest dudes. I don't know if you know the comedian Kyle Kinane, but he's very similar to that guy. Okay. If you're ever into like, he's just like a grumbly, rough voice dude that can just like, he's the life of the party everywhere he goes. He's a funny dude, man. But he tells you these stories. I'm like, dude, we gotta film that. Like that
needs to be a thing. That's amazing.
Yeah. He's just one of these guys. He's like an absolute fucking unit, man. He's especially like if we're on the party, if we're out on the road and he's had a couple of drinks, man, the stories you'll hear from him, she'll just keel over. Get him on one night because you'll be just laughing the whole time.
We'll link up. I'm always looking for fun people to have on just to shoot the shit about. But something that's funny that I wanted to make sure I talked about just on this topic and going back to Thorns. So I was doing a bit of a deep dive on the YouTube and just looking at the comments and stuff. And, there's like some porn site comments and stuff, a lot of compliments and stuff like that, which is always good. But one comment that I had to point out here, and I'm sure you've seen it, but I had to point this out to my listeners here. Someone commented, at 1:31, he says shitting the bed.
Dude, there's a funny story with that too. Is like, I sent the track to Rody. I'm like, you can write whatever you want, bro. And he sends me a message a few weeks later. He's like, okay, I want you to hear this out. Tell me if this is too silly, because I'm saying shitting the bed, and I don't know if like that's like, if it's fucking dumb, let me know and I'll change it. He sent it to me, and I'm like, that is dumb, but it's right. It needs to be shitting in the bed, because that's Rody, dude. He's like, everyone calls him Chody, and he's like, that's his like self-proclaimed nickname that he's had forever. But he's like, he's a fucking goofball, man. That's perfect for him. It sounds like him, but it's like, it's still, I know what he means by shitting the bed. It's like, I can't fucking get it together. So like, it totally worked, but I love that someone points that out. This guy said shitting the bed, and he 100% did, and he owned it, man. And I wouldn't change it for the world. I love it.
And I think it's just funny that how you guys linked up and everything. And it's just like, man, like, and I think someone else commented like, I was watching this guy fart on people, and now I'm listening to his awesome music. Like, what is my life right now? Has there been anyone that has, even if it's only been a couple people that have like discovered Rival Town through your TikTok that you've heard from?
Framework video, dude. The music video for Framework. I don't know if you've ever seen the music video for that one. Read the comments, man. It's like there's like 100 and something comments, and 100 of them are like, "Where's the farts, bro? I need more farts, bro. Where's the farts?" Like the most beautiful song. I'm pouring my heart out to my wife, telling her I love you too, my baby. And all the comments like, "Yo, fart man, rock and roll, fart boy.
Come on, fart boy, let's go."
Like the most romantic thing I've ever written, and it's just all fart comments. But I mean, a view's a view, dude. So it's you buy a t-shirt at the end of the day, I'll be the fart guy on fucking YouTube too.
It's worse things to be, right?
Yeah, it's like, and the people that are in on the joke get the joke.
Yeah.
And there's people that don't get the joke. Like, and what I mean by it, like it's fart jokes, but it's deeper than that. It's the joke is that, like, imagine somebody really fucking was like, everyone knows that, most people know that it's just skits. But like, there's like, the joke is like,
oh, there's still a few that
there's a lot of people that don't know that, but like, I try to make it pretty obvious. I'm like, if I fucking ran up to a moving car at a fucking red light, jumped in their window, blasted ass in their face, and ran away, I would be in fucking jail. And that's the joke.
That night.
The joke is that, imagine if somebody did this. I'm gonna visualize that for you, because no one can do this or you're gonna get shot. So it's like, that's the joke, man. And like, some people are like, man, I would fucking kill that motherfucker if he did that to me. And I'm just like, man, then you're not getting the joke.
Good for you, bro.
Yeah, you're overthinking a fart joke, bro. Like, and I go on, I'm looking at Reddit, dude. There's thousands of fucking like polls like, yo, man, we're trying to dissect whether or not this guy's legit. I'm like, man, I'll comment here and tell you it's not legit, man. I'm just trying to make you laugh. That's all it is. If you laughed, move on, keep scrolling, dude. That's the entire bit.
That's TikTok as a whole. You just and you keep moving on. That's leave a follow, baby. Buy a t-shirt, whatever.
We could do a TikTok right now if you wanted. I got all the fucking bits. We should do one night where like you're interviewing me for a job and I just keep ripping ass here. And you just kind of act like like, dude, that would blow up a million times over. So next
fuck yeah, dude, I'm in. Let's do it. I'm in 100%.
All right, bro. I do gotta let you go though.
Yeah, of course, brother, of course. I was just gonna say, just real quick before we go, is there I know you guys got a couple shows coming up. What's going on with those shows this weekend?
So this weekend we're playing Rival Town in Barrie, Ontario at a house show, Ask a Punk show. If you would like to come to that, send any of the bands playing a message on any of their social media platforms, and we'll send you the address. We are expecting it to be a sellout, so if you want to come, then you got to definitely try and get your message in quick. The last time we did one of these in Barrie, it was wild. So like, definitely try and get your name in the hat quick. Just message either Rival Town, Latchkey, or Flight 97, and any one of those bands can hook you up with the info you need to find your way to that location. And then next week, on I think Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I will be in Toronto at Sneaky D's on Thursday, and London on Friday night at another house show. But this is more of a venue-y house show called Probably House. You can find that on Facebook. All the information for that is right there. And then Saturday night, we're at the Doors Pub in Hamilton, Ontario for a toasty, intimate little snuggle fest in there. So we look forward to seeing you guys coming out, and we're going to rock and roll for you.
All right, folks, there you have it. My chat with Bryce Smith, guitarist of Rival Town, and also a viral TikTok star. Had a lot of fun on that chat, as I'm sure you guys could tell. Hope you did as well. Hey, that rhymed. Haha. Could do that again if I tried, but be sure to check out Rival Town anywhere that you find your music, and be sure to stream Thorns as it comes out on all streaming platforms tomorrow. As you guys are hearing this episode on July 29th, I will have a link in the description of this podcast to get you linked up with Rival Town and all of their streaming services and ways to pre-save the song if you are listening to this on Thursday, July 28th. Man, a lot of great content lately here on the show. I'm so excited. I'm kind of at a loss for words with how much really just awesome stuff has happened over the last few weeks. I mean, again, Graham's Productions Network partnership has been just so cool so far. I've been loving being on Spreaker. I've had a lot of great feedback so far. And please give me feedback. I'm always down to chat with you guys about the show and chat with you about if there's something that you hear that you're like, I'm not a fan of that or whatever. I'm always looking for ways to make this podcast better and to better myself as a podcaster and as an interviewer and as a storyteller and things of that nature. So if you want to hit me up anytime, you can do so via email at thehotteshow@gmail.com, or of course on the social media, all under The Hotter Show. You can also check out the rest of the fine podcasts on the Grey Rooms Productions Network. We do, of course, have myself, The Hotter Show, The Grey Rooms, which is a horror anthology podcast that is the best horror anthology podcast in the world. It is my favorite podcast, and I'm not just saying that because I'm on the Grey Rooms Network. It was long before I knew this was even going to be a possibility. And humongous shout to everyone over at the Grey Rooms. And then we do as well have the Ghost Signal, which is a real life paranormal investigative podcast. The Ghost Signal is so much fun. Control Operator Jeff is a fantastic storyteller. And he does actually also do this fun thing where he will read either fan submitted stories or like kind of creepypasta-y stories as well on the show. And there's these fun little segments, and just it's a badass show. If you're into any kind of paranormal and kind of ghost hunting and things like that, check out the Ghost Signal. It is absolutely freaking awesome. And I don't want to say anything or speak out of school here, but I can tell you the Graham's Productions has some cool stuff coming. So keep an eye. Graham's Productions is going to be a very fast growing network, and you're going to be seeing us all over the place. So stay tuned for that. Huge shouts again to everyone over at the Graham's Productions for this amazing opportunity that you have afforded me and gifted me, and I will do everything in my power to make y'all proud. Just like I'm going to do everything in my power to always entertain you guys and make sure I give shout outs and credit to my patrons, my hotheads. We have Mr. Scott Duquette, my boy, Scotty D, who I actually just had lunch with today. So Scott, if you're listening, brother, what's up? It was good to see you, man. Big loves up to Scotty, man. He's been a patron since 2019, which might as well be 10 years at this point, okay? Big shouts to you, Scott. Thank you so much for all of your support, brother. We have the Grey Rooms podcast, which, I mean, what else can I say about the Grey Rooms podcast? Just my favorite podcast. They have done so much for me, continue to do so much for me. Humongous shouts to everyone over at the Grey Rooms. Thank you guys so much for your patronage now for 6 months. That's just amazing. Amazing to me. We have Ronan Komori, who has been a hothead for 3 months now. Ronan, thank you so very much for all of your support. I very much appreciate you. We have Wolf Delta Pi, who has been a patron for 2 months. Wolf, thank you so much, brother. You know how much I appreciate you and all of your support. We have Eric Phones, who has been a patron now for 2 months as well. Eric, brother, thank you so much. I appreciate it very, very much. All of your support, you beautiful bearded wonder. Keep that beard growing, brother. It looks fantastic. We have Arthur Unk, who has been a patron as well for 2 months now. Arthur, I mean, come on, man. You know how much I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for everything and for all you do over at the Grey Rooms as the head writer. I mean, you're a legend, brother. Thank you so very much. And a big shout as well to the newest patron, who has been a patron for just about a month now, Mike Quintero of Mike's Mystery Mansion, which, if you are not familiar, Mike's Mystery Mansion is a horror narration podcast and YouTube channel that you should definitely check out because it is fantastic. And Mike is always getting better. He's always growing as a narrator and also as a producer. And he has just been freaking killing it lately. So go check out Mike's Mystery Mansion and let him know that his boy, Hotter, sent you. And guys, with that, I'm going to sign off here today. Thank you so very much for all the support, all the love. I appreciate it so very much. I'm always going to end off every episode rambling on about how much I appreciate you guys because this is just these last few weeks or a couple months of the show have just been wild, absolutely wild. And I'm having so much fun right now. And I always have fun doing the show, but the last couple months have really, truly been just amazing. And I've been given opportunities that I didn't think I would ever get. So you're going to hear me be thankful a lot at the end of every single episode of the show. Shout outs to you. Shout outs to the Grey Rooms Productions, all the fine shows there. Shout out to the patrons. If you listen to this still right now, give yourself a round of applause. You are amazing. Thank you so very much. And I will catch you next time on The Harder Show. Take it easy, guys.